Hi everyone, and welcome back to Insight. So today I'm going to be talking about something a little bit different. Basically, a way of photographing that is not quite the way which we typically go about getting our images. This photographic technique is called contemplative photography, and it's based on the notion of allowing yourself to perceive things as they are, unencumbered by conceptual biases. So if you want to know more about this way of going about getting your images, stay tuned and I'll tell you all about it. Okay, welcome back. So let me tell you a little bit about contemplative photography and how it's different from the usual way that we as photographers go out there and take our pictures. Now, another name for this technique is mixang, which is a Tibetan word which means good eye. And in essence, contemplative photography argues that there are different ways in which we perceive things. On the one hand, there is sensory seeing, and on the other hand, there is conceptual seeing. Sensory seeing is about perceiving things as they appear to our senses, whereas conceptual seeing is about perceiving things that appear to the mind's eye, the way that the mind sees it. Now, in our culture, conceptual seeing seems to take precedence over sensory seeing. And this is because we put a lot of emphasis on the intellect and the notion that we need to think about something before we take action. The problem with this is that this approach, this conceptual approach, sometimes prevents us from perceiving things clearly, from actually noticing the colors and textures and the richness of the environment that we're in. In fact, there are times when we are so completely engrossed in the conceptual realm that we notice nothing of the sensory environment. We're so encumbered by our concepts that we can't actually get the images that we want to get. So contemplative photography is about seeing the world in a new way as a result of being able to distinguish the sensory experiences that we have from the conceptual experiences and learning how to capture the sensory experiences in our photographs. The camera becomes a way of tuning into our immediate sense experiences. A very important aspect of the technology of a camera is that it only has the ability to connect to the sense world. A camera does not think. A camera captures form, texture, light, and allows us to produce images of these sensory forms. A camera is a tool that allows us to see clearly independent of concepts. It is actually a tool that allows us to shed our conceptual filters. So this brings up the question, how does one go about creating contemplative images? Now, before I go on, I just want to say that contemplative photography has a connection to Buddhism and the kind of experience that Buddhism encourages. Basically, Buddhist thinking suggests that we strive to live in the here and now and in the moment, and that we try as much as we can to not be influenced by our concepts of past experiences and future possibilities. Be in the here and now. Experience things as they are. The problem with overthinking about the past and the future is that it gets in the way of truly appreciating the present. An important principle in contemplative photography is being able to recognize what they call flashes of perception. Flashes of perception are simple, vivid, and direct experiences. They are moments of clear seeing. And it's important to learn how to recognize and appreciate these moments of sense perception. The problem that photographers sometimes have is that they are somewhere else in their conceptual heads when these moments of perception arise. And so they miss them, they walk right by them. And I can actually share this personal experience as an example. So I live very close to a place called Shepherd's Bush, and Shepherd's Bush is a beautiful forested area. It's very attractive. People go out and they walk there. They take their dogs out there for a walk. It's a beautiful place, and there are definitely photo opportunities there. The problem with it is that having lived here for such a long time and having been to Shepherd's Bush many, many times, basically after a while you stop actually experiencing it. You just walk through it without paying attention to all the things that are around you. And this is something that I must admit I go through. I go for walks there, and I don't pay attention to photographic opportunities because it's in my backyard, so it's not some place that really I think of as a photographic possibility. But that's wrong. According to Mixang, you don't need to go to any special place to find photographic opportunities. There are numerous photo opportunities in your own backyard if you just learn to look and experience the place that you're in the here and now. So a while back, I went for a walk at Shepherd's Bush, and I decided to take my camera with me, and I took some images. And the images that I took, well, they're pretty boring, but, I was doing some work on contemplative photography. I was researching it, and I thought, maybe I'm going to try to walk through this place with the contemplative kind of notion in mind. So I did this, but for the most part, the images that I captured were, let's just say, pretty bland and banal, as you can see. But then, as I was walking home, I was passing this house that I pass by when I go for a walk there, and I thought, well, I'm going to take a picture of this house. It's a nice house. The light at this particular moment in time was not particularly good. It was towards the end of the day. It was fairly cloudy, so it was not an interesting light. But I snapped a couple of images, and I made my way home. When I got home, I looked at the images that I captured, and I looked at the house, and I thought to myself, this is not very good. I mean, this is a boring image, really. And then it occurred to me that I really failed to see the most interesting thing in the experience that I was having at the moment. And the most interesting thing in the image is the reflection on the ground. Right here, you can see there is some interesting stuff happening, but I really didn't pay any attention to it at all. I was fixed on the house and not the reflection, right? So the moment of perception, the flash of perception, I missed it, really. So anyway, when I got home, I decided that I would try to make something with that particular area of the photograph. And I did, and this is what I came up with. And as you can see, this is a much more interesting image than the one that I took while I was there. I think the problem was that I was thinking too much about getting a good image. I wasn't letting the experience of being there actually deliver the images, kind of letting go of my conceptual thinking and letting the experience of being there just provide the images. Maybe if I was in that mindset, I would have noticed the puddle and I would have paid more attention to it. So this brings me to an important part of contemplative photography. What I'm talking about here is the idea of discernment. I did not discern what was interesting in the experience. Discernment is the clear experience of the qualities of perception. Another way of thinking about it is to ask which part of the experience defined your response, really captured your attention. I didn't ask that question. I really didn't pay attention to what was actually around me. I was looking at the macro reality and I failed to see that particular thing that was really, really interesting. Discernment is really about understanding the dimensions of your perceptions. Which part of your perception you're going to focus on. The dimension of your perceptions will help with the framing and composition of your images. So once you've had the flash of perception, once you've discerned what part of it is important, the final part is to apply the principle of equivalence, or forming the equivalent of perception. This basically means trying to produce an image that is the equivalent of what you see. And this is a very important thing. It's not about what somebody else saw. It's not about even what was necessarily there. You're not documenting, you're revealing something about yourself and your experience. Now, I want to leave you with this clip from the movie Smoke, which beautifully captures the basic ideas in contemplative photography. I love this clip because it really illustrates in a very interesting way the underlying principles of learning how to quiet down, pay attention, and experience the fullness of what's around you in the here and now.
I don't know. It just came to me. It's my corner, after all. I mean, it's just one little part of the world, but things take place there, too, just like everywhere else. It's a record of my little spot.
It's kind of overwhelming.
You'll never get it if you don't slow down, my friend.
What do you mean?
I mean, you're going too fast. You're hardly even looking at the pictures.
They're all the same.
They're all the same, but each one is different from every other one. You got your bright mornings and your dark mornings. You got your summer light and your autumn light. You got your weekdays and your weekends. You got your people in overcoats and galoshes, and you got your people in t-shirts and shorts. Sometimes the same people, sometimes different ones. Sometimes the different ones become the same, and the same ones disappear. The earth revolves around the sun, and every day the light from the sun hits the earth at a different angle.
Slow down, huh?
That's what I'd recommend.
So thanks for watching. Please give the video a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. And don't forget to hit the notification bell. Your support means a lot to me. Take care for now, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.